What's up guys and welcome back. In this video we're going to be discussing Season 3 of Hannibal, Episode 5. Let me get this started by saying this episode was phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. So the episode starts out with Chuya and Will Graham, and they're on the train back to Florence. And Chuya explains how she got to know Hannibal basically. When they went to actually meet Hannibal, that it was just him as an orphan, as his sister had been killed and eaten, and he was left alone. We actually find out that Will knows that Hannibal is in Florence because of a postcard that he actually sent to Will, so Hannibal actually wants Will to know where he is and come and find him, so that was quite interesting. So somewhere deep down, like, Hannibal doesn't care about the law or being caught. He actually still wants to contact Will, even though it could lead to his downfall. Bromance in the truest form. We see Bedelia and Hannibal, and they're talking about Will Graham, and Bedelia says something along the lines of, a shepherd dog knows not to savage the sheep, and then Hannibal like hugs her from behind and says, but he wants to, and this is like exactly their relationship. I thought that was pretty funny. We see a cool artistic shot of in Florence. We see Jack Crawford, and he's standing on a bridge, and he's actually got his wife's urn with him, and he pours the ashes into the river, and it's a pretty symbolic shot of the ashes just falling out of the glass into the water, and it looks like it's like saying how like life's just like slipping away, fading. And Jack actually takes off his wedding ring and throws it in the river, which was a bit confusing. I didn't know why he'd want to do that, unless he thought he was going to die and he wouldn't need it, but wouldn't he want to be buried with it? Then we see Jack, and he's actually at Patsy's house with his wife, his new wife, by the looks of things. And when Patsy's wife actually goes out into the kitchen, Patsy and Jack have a conversation about how Patsy's unofficially trying to catch Hannibal so he can regain like his dignity, because he's been shamed somehow in the past with his department. And Jack's trying to tell him not to go ahead with it and that he should stick to the law. Not only just for the law, just because he knows what Hannibal's capable of, and that Patsy might end up getting killed. And Patsy says how he's got all these debts and how he wants to make his life with his wife a lot better, so we get the sense that Patsy's willing to do anything to get cash lawfully or illegally. And we catch up with Alana Bloom and Mason Verger again, and they're still trying to track down Hannibal. And there's this really funny scene with Mason Verger being an absolute creeper. He says something like, Mason's talking about how Hannibal tasted. He's basically talking about Alana's sexual relationship with Hannibal, and he says something like, "Spitters are quitters, and you don't strike me as a quitter." It's just the way that he says it in his Gary Oldman type voice. I thought it was hilarious. And Alana actually figured out where Hannibal is by these bottles of wine that he's been ordering every week since like a long time. She now knows that Bedelia's been going into the same exact shop and buying them, so Mason knows exactly where Hannibal is, well, down to the Florence area anyway. So things are looking pretty bad for Hannibal, with Will, Jack and Mason all in Florence looking for him. We get this scene which is pretty much an exact replica from the Hannibal movie, where Patsy first goes up to Hannibal and talks to him because he wants to figure out if he is actually the man he's talking about, and he soon figures out that he is the exact same person as the monster of Florence that he met 20 years ago. So once Patsy makes this confirmation, he actually calls up the most wanted hotline, because he wants to capture Hannibal for himself obviously, and he asks for if there's any bounty rewards, and he ends up calling Mason Verger's like bounty hotline so he can try and get this $3 million that Mason Verger's put out on Hannibal's head. And this scene plays out exactly as it does in the Hannibal movie. I loved all the little details to the Hannibal movie in this one. It was just like watching Hannibal again, but through different eyes. Shortly after this, there's a scene where Hannibal's playing the piano, and as we go into this scene, we see the camera pan through Hannibal's like balcony window, and as soon as I saw that shot, I was thinking, I know what's going to happen. If you've seen the Hannibal movie, you probably thought the same. Obviously the scene later in the episode is something to do with the balcony. Bedelia and Hannibal are talking about the whole Patsy situation, and we see just how smart Hannibal is. He's always 10 steps ahead of the game, and he knows exactly what Patsy wants, and he knows exactly what Patsy's going to do, because he knows that he's unofficially trying to catch him, because he's actually called up Mason's hotline, as he says, for a laugh at one point. So he knows what Patsy's going to do and what he's willing to do. One of the more unexpected scenes of the episode is when we see Chuya and Will Graham on the train, and Will wakes up and Chuya's not there, and he ends up going out to like the back of the train, and she's out there and he's not talking, and they end up kissing. But as they kiss, Chuya throws Will Graham off the back of the train, which must have fucked him up completely. We get this really eerie shot of Will, and he's like unconscious on the tracks, and he's just waking up. He gets woken up by the stag, actually. The stag, obviously, is in his imagination, but that's what wakes him up when he walks down the tracks. And we get to see Will just like staggering around, and the music in the scene really reminded me of something from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the 70s. It was really weird, all these like gongs and strange noises. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty creepy. So Patsy goes on to Skype with Mason Verger, which would have been an awkward conversation. And Verger basically tells him that he needs to get like his fingerprint to confirm his identity, which also happens in the Hannibal movie, but in this one we kind of skip straight to the point because we see that Patsy goes to Hannibal's office and he's brought like this replica of some kind of torture device that one of his ancestors used, because they talked about that earlier in the episode. And he's hoping that Hannibal would put his hands on it so he could get a fingerprint. I wasn't expecting Hannibal to just go and touch. And then Hannibal puts on like these surgical gloves, which I thought was pretty awesome, because by this time he must know that he knows that Patsy is after him. But what he doesn't know is that he actually leaves a fingerprint on like a knife he's just been cutting some lemons or limes with. And Patsy sees this and he tries to go for the knife. And then this is where the Patsy scene from Hannibal happens. He actually chloroforms him and straps him to like this chair thing. And he takes him out on the balcony. He basically guts him and throws him off the balcony and leaves all of his intestines hanging out, which is the same as what happened in the Hannibal movie, but it was a lot more visceral in this one, I guess. I must say the one moment in this scene which I thought was amazing was just the way that Hannibal and Patsy were talking, and when they were talking about Patsy's ancestor being killed, the way Hannibal was staring into Patsy's eyes, it was just chilling the way he was looking at him. Because at this point, Patsy must know that Hannibal is onto him, and Hannibal clearly knows that Patsy wants him, so it was just like a very intimidating scene if I was Patsy. And on to the final scene of the episode, which was possibly the most epic thing we've seen in Hannibal as a series so far, and it was the round 2 fight between Jack and Hannibal. Just after Patsy's body is seen hanging, Hannibal looks down the balcony and Jack Crawford is actually standing there staring up at him. And then we see this really cool scene, and Hannibal's in his office and Jack's gone up to approach him, and Hannibal begins talking about his wife and how that he thinks that Jack killed his wife. And the whole time we're thinking, is this going to be exactly what happened last time? Is Jack going to get stabbed again? But I think Jack is on form this time. He actually appears out of nowhere like Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins, and like starts beating the fuck out of Hannibal. And it's just like the most epic scene in the show. There's also like a juxtaposition, because there's this really like operatic classical music playing in the background while he's getting like his arm snapped. He gets stabbed in the legs with like meat hooks and stuff. As a viewer, like I'm always rooting for Hannibal. I love Hannibal, but he does deserve a little comeuppance for what he did to everyone in the end of season 2. So this was by far the most satisfying scene in this season, definitely, maybe in the entire show. Jack actually hits him in the face with a meat hook and sends him flying out of the balcony, and he narrowly survives, to be honest. He catches onto Patsy's body and falls to the floor, probably breaking his leg. Like, there's no way he would have got up that fast in real life, but as a show you've got to give it a bit of leeway. So Hannibal barely escapes, and that's where the episode ends. So I can't wait for the next episode. I'm actually filming this the day before the next episode, so I can't wait to see what happens tomorrow. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the episode. Let me know what you thought down below. How did you find the fight at the end? Was it as good as the first fight? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think Jack's going to go out and finish off Hannibal? Probably not. What do you think is going to happen with Will? How far is he going to have to travel to get back to Florence? Let me know down in the comments section. And anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you stick around for the next episode. Subscribe if you like the content, and check out the rest of my channel. And yeah, thanks for watching, I'll see you next time.